congratulations on Towards Zero. I thought it was wonderful and I loved your performances.
Thanks so
Good,
much. You
good
were
to
having a
hear.
nice time.
We are.
Good.
Started today.
Good. Thanks
We've
for
met some
chatting with
lovely
me.
people.
We have.
Yeah.
Going very well.
That's great. Yeah, so I loved your characters. I was curious, this is based on the great Agatha Christie novel. I was curious if you went so far as to read the novel in advance, if you already read it, if you were advised to stay away from it and just stick with the series by Sam or anything like that. Whoever wants to start.
You can start. Go on.
Um, I read the scripts first.
Yeah.
Well, there was still like an earlier draft of it at the time, and they were still changing it. But I read the adaptation first, and I didn't know the story at all. So it was a book I wasn't familiar with, and I did read the novel. I wasn't discouraged or encouraged to read the novel. Sam, the director, talked about what might have changed a little bit or adjusted from the books, and certainly reading the novel, I think that where some things are maybe more insinuated about Mary or not as explored, the adaptation did a really beautiful job of like unpacking that a little bit more. So I really appreciated the sort of thought process behind that. And it felt like a collaboration. I felt Sam really wanted to know what I felt about the journey and what felt missing to me having read the scripts and the book. And I really valued the fact that he cared about collaborating in that way, and Rachel, the writer, as well. So there were some early conversations around it, and it's very nice to feel like you can be a part of that storytelling. But yeah, it was a very unfamiliar book and story to me, but I was very surprised by how psychological it was and a lot more edgier and maybe grittier than maybe people realize Agatha Christie can be. And I think she is. I think she wrote very modern, complex people, but some people like to frame her as a very quaint, lovely, storytelling person, but actually she's a lot more sexy and sensual than that, I think.
Okay.
Cool.
I did not read the novel. I had seen an adaptation that had been done, but a long time ago. So I did know the story. But for me, I think maybe, I mean, I'm not a massive reader, I will admit that. So I feel like it would be easy for me to sort of confuse them. And I think we're already doing an adaptation that's probably been done before. So I think that might have been a bit much for me. What I like to do is, I mean, like you said, the script changes quite a lot in the beginning. So there's a lot of reading just certain scenes in the beginning and more focusing on your character, which is not even necessarily like that. That's not necessarily done by reading the story or reading the book. It's kind of just really diving into the character by yourself. And then once the script was done and finished and we knew what was going to be going on, just very thoroughly, I think, going through it like once or twice, and then I don't read it anymore after that because I feel like I like to try and forget it
Yeah,
because the character's not meant to know
yeah.
the
You want a fresh
story.
take on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want like I feel like if you've read the story too much, you don't get the element of like
Surprise.
anticipation,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah. That's
characters.
true.
Sometimes I literally do forget. I forget
It's
midway through the
good.
job and I'm like, fantastic.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's great. That's very interesting. And you both have some great moments with your scene partner, Anjelica Huston. So I was curious what it was like working with her, if you spent maybe some extra time
Yeah.
prepping with her behind the scenes, or did it pay off to maybe not do that as much to make it all the more, I don't know, daunting with those
I
kind
think
of
it was
intense
useful to
moments?
have the sense that because she arrived and I met her for the first time really, a little rehearsal beforehand. And met her as well in the makeup trailer before we started the day. And she was so warm and so friendly, but really we sort of went to work straight away. And I was definitely intimidated, which I think helps because Lady Tressilian is intimidating. But she was also friendly, and you want to believe that Mary and Lady Tressilian, they got on at some point and they are friends as well underneath all of that. And I was really nervous about the scene where I have to have an argument with her and we're quite hot at each other. And I just felt like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this scene where I'm like yelling at Anjelica Huston, this is crazy. what is my life, and also who do I think I am. But she loved it, and she was like, yeah, give me more, and she was so
Oh my God,
encouraging.
no, that's so cool.
She was like, she loved it, and we had such a nice time. And I just remember that first day of filming, we were filming this very beautiful old house, and it had this beautiful like garden, huge, like expansive bit of land outside. And we were just in a table having lunch together. And it was really calm and beautiful and lovely. And I'll always remember that, moment of like just connection with her in a very real way. She's a lovely person.
Definitely.
That's
I
wonderful.
agree with you. My scene was my scene. I only had one scene with her, and it's very different. The bond between the characters is obviously so different. But my scene is sort of like, in a way, I was happy that it was a scene where Kay's meeting Lady Trezillian for the first time, and she is a bit nervous, and she's trying to like look right and stand right and speak right. So I mean, that was a little bit how I felt. I was like, yeah, do you know what I mean? So it kind of helped a little
Useful for
bit.
the scene.
Yeah, there was a similarity there. But I actually I didn't meet her in the makeup track, but I got to meet her quickly in her green room before we went in. There was so many bedrooms in this absolutely enormous house, and she was in a bedroom, and then next door to the actual bedroom where she's going to be sat in the scene, and just like got to go in and say hello and like meet her, which is obviously just like so exciting and nerve-wracking and intimidating. But she was just so friendly and so warm and so lovely that it very much calmed me down. And then I was like, right, now all I have to do is like watch her act and then remember to act myself while I'm watching her act, and not just like stare at her and like lose my track of like my track of thought. So but yeah, once she started, like you said, she kind of just turns it on, and then she
like
turns into the character, and it's absolutely amazing to watch. But also there's this very calming energy she has that sort of just like gives you a calm sense of confidence. And the scene went really well. I was so happy because I was really nervous I was gonna like mess it up, but no. So she's incredible in like every different way. And we had a really nice lunch outside that I will never forget. That lunch,
Yeah,
she was telling us stories. It was great.
It's great. Yeah, it's wonderful to hear. Yeah, and both your scenes were wonderful and really stood out to me. I'm
thank
not
you.
just saying that. So
Thanks.
that's great. That's great to hear. And Anjana, I wanted to mention, my wife and I loved the show Killing Eve. We loved your character
Oh, thank you so
Pam.
much.
Loved when Pam entered the show, and it seems like fans, including myself, weren't ready to part ways with the show. And
Yeah.
of course, they're based on the novels, the books. So I was curious if you have any thoughts on, if the franchise, the world were to continue in some
Oh, wow.
capacity, if they were to
No one,
reignite the
no
series.
one has asked me this question before.
Yeah,
I honestly don't know. The honest answer is like I like to go into a story and not assume anything or have any expectations of where it might go. For me, definitely it felt like that was the ending. Like, we ended the story. I can't speak to any kind of further franchises or sequels and prequels. I definitely don't know anything about that at
She
all.
knows
So
nothing.
I know nothing. Unhelpfully for you. But
no, it's all good. I have
but
to ask,
what I loved about Pam was that I got to meet everyone.
Yeah,
I really got to meet everyone in the show, and so I felt very spoiled uh,
yeah,
that I got to do that. It was
yeah,
a really fun job for me.
yeah, yeah. It was a great character too. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
it was a lot of fun. And Mimi, I was curious. Your show, Sex Education, was a lot of fun. Watched that as well. I was curious if you still stay in touch with the cast or crew. If you guys all,
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, everyone is so amazing and very busy and doing very well. And it's weird because it's like we've sort of grown up together a little
Mm.
bit.
yeah,
'Cause it's like set in a school, and I feel like I was a lot younger when I started than I am now. So I mean, it was a very special experience. And I mean, I'm a creature of habit. If it was up to me, I'd just keep going forever.
You could have done
So,
season
oh,
29.
definitely. I would have gone Friends style on it. You know what I mean? Grey's Anatomy, how many episodes?
I
There's
mean,
loads of
I
those,
would
isn't
see
there?
the spin-off of
Yeah,
your
I mean,
character.
you never know. There's no one said no. There's
I think we should have a
you never
spin-off.
know what's
Just
going to
putting it out
happen
there.
in the future. But yeah, no, it's definitely a very special one for me. And yeah, we do when well, sometimes we see each other a lot accidentally, and that's always very exciting when you feel like a hand. You're like
Yeah.
turning it.
Maybe we could do a multiverse thing where Pam meets Ruby.
Oh my God,
And
stop.
that would be the
That
the
would
new
be,
TV
I mean,
show.
you'd love that. That would be great.
I support
That's
it.
an idea for you. Let's make that happen.
There you go. I'm going to write that down. Cool. Well, in the meantime, congratulations again on Towards Zero. I thought it was wonderful. And thank you for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you.